Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours, hopefully the next few days. Today is Monday, October 3rd, and we are starting off with what is, very positive price action in relation to what we saw, late last week and over the weekend due to, some Credit Suisse rumors among, the rest of the macroeconomic turmoil. So sentiment, not too bad to start. ETH a little down, Bitcoin quite bullish on both daily and hourly. And we're seeing some other coins, around that 40, 50 level. So, a few that are quite bullish, but still, most that are neutral. Not weird on a Monday, but definitely once we start looking at price action, it may, be a little confusing. So when we opened last night for equities futures, we were right around here. We quickly dropped down and recovered and basically spent the rest of the evening in a consolidation pattern before jumping early this morning. And then markets opened right around 6:30 to a pretty large drop and then jumped higher. We told the Trade the Chain community, really, I was looking for 36.40 to flip. We're now over 36.50 and we're now back, again, messing with that range that we traded in for the better part of last week, and so this could be deviation below the range as well as a potential swing failure pattern for equities. So zooming out, we bounced off of, and I'll go ahead and do a full zoom. We bounced off of the level of the range that we mentioned would traded in, late 2020. So we're at the very top of that area, where we bounced off the very top of that area, which is 35.50. The low end of that area is 32.30. I think 3300 is really that magic number a lot of markets pundits have said, but I think basically 35.50 key number, as well as 3400 is going to be a key number, as well as 3300 and then 32.20. So we bounced off 35.50 pretty convincingly. And we are now back at the, now we're now nearing, overbought territory for the S&P 500, which is just under this, that POC that we just saw at 36.70. So you would expect the market to probably cool. We are at lunchtime, so we do know that, nice little sell-off typically comes at lunchtime. Bulls want to see basically this confluence of the VWAP and the 50-day moving average held, which would be about 36.25. So if we can hold 36.25, we're likely back up to where we are now, and then we'll be messing with the 1 hour 200-day moving average, which has proved quite tricky. So we could see something like, we move a little bit lower over the next few hours, we bounce back here, move a little bit lower, and then consolidate under the 200-day moving average, and then end up moving higher. So that's definitely plausible in a bullish direction. And then in a bearish direction, we would basically just end up getting, cut from here. We wouldn't hold here, and then we would head back to the lows. 35.90, I think, would be a good area, and then potentially back towards the trend, which would be about 35.50. And then we could potentially end up heading higher or end up moving lower. So there's your outlook for equities. Obviously, we're a bit overextended, but doesn't mean we can't move higher. If momentum comes in, there is just a large liquidity level here with that POC and the 200-day moving average on the 1 hour charts to kind of act as resistance. So typically, you would say, maybe a little bit of a breather here after this ugly price action. But if momentum comes, we could definitely spike out of that. Looking at sentiment, we can see Bitcoin had a pretty ugly weekend, but very quick reversal this morning. And we're now, actually, if I refresh this, I think we'll be actually in bullish territory. Yeah, there we are. So we're firmly in bullish territory for Bitcoin now. Bulls definitely want to see that sustain. Previous resistance was 63, and we're at about 61. So need to see that sustained for more bullish price action, but very positive to see after an ugly weekend. Hourly sentiment off the charts, looking great. Obviously coming down a little bit. We need to see that bounce around the 60 level, and prices can continue higher. ETH definitely a little bit weaker than Bitcoin, no surprise there. Given what we talked about previously last week, ETH definitely going to be more volatile than Bitcoin, but has had a nice boost this morning. Daily sentiment definitely would like to see this pick up a little bit more. Not entirely positive, but it's moving higher than its lows for the weekend, so definitely something positive there. And then hourly sentiment, not as positive as Bitcoin, but still positive. It's green. It's moving higher. We want to see that sustained. So looking at Bitcoin, zooming out a little bit, we can see that, this downward range, this downward trend that we've been in since September, dating all the way back, this trend is from September. We have one going back all the way to October, which could end up, meeting, which we could meet above the 20K level if this movement gets some legs. But moral of the story here is we're above that trend. We obviously deviated above it once last week, but we are back above that trend. We held this POC, had a swing failure pattern beneath it, late last night, which I mentioned, and now we're moving higher. So, this is the previous trend or previous range resistance from last week, which we mentioned vigorously. I would expect it to probably try and tag 19.7. So if it holds 19.3, basically it's going to try and move up to 19.6, 19.7. Obviously 20K has been a tough one, as has 26 or 19.6, 19.7. So if we can hold 19.3, we move here. We have some consolidation. We move higher. We have to hold this. We have to hold this level, and then we can potentially keep moving higher. We could also here consolidation, get rejected back down, bounce here again, and then move higher. That would kind of be like a big consolidation, big kind of bull pattern. And then if we can't hold 19.3, then we're back to this POC, bouncing off of the trend again, 19.1. And then, hopefully, it would end up moving higher, or it would move back lower in the range and bounce back down towards 19K, 18.8K. So I know that was a lot of fuzzy lines, but the moral of the story here is if we can hold 19.3, 19.6, 19.7 is in the cards. If you hold 19.6, 19.7, then 20K is in the cards. You cannot hold 19.3, then 19.1K is in the cards. If you cannot hold 19.1K, then 18.9K is again in the cards. So for Ethereum, very simply put, looking a little bit better from a technical perspective than Bitcoin, just due to the lack of confluence. But 100-day moving average, 200-day moving average POC, so natural resistance level. Maybe we come back down to the VWAP 50-day moving average area, which is 1300. Bounce there, head back higher, consolidate here. You head higher, consolidate here, head higher. If you can't obviously make it here, then you're probably headed back down to 1275. If you get rejected here, you're probably headed back down to that low again, hoping for higher. If you get rejected here, hoping for that low again and head higher. So you basically have your levels lined out right here. You break here, you're lower. You hold here, you're higher. You break here, you're lower. You hold here, you're higher, and et cetera, et cetera. So probably going to be very level to level trading over the next several days as this market digests the Credit Suisse stuff. I'm writing about the Credit Suisse stuff in the newsletter, so whenever you read that, you'll learn more about it. But the moral of the story is we don't see it as big of a systemic risk as a lot of pundits are making it out to be. Could definitely be a big issue, but for now, it doesn't seem like it is as big of an issue as a Lehman style systemic, going to bring down everybody with it. They're definitely in a bad position, but they can work on it without having, quote unquote central bank or market intervention. And then they can just be, Credit Suisse can just be a bad bank. There's plenty of bad banks out there, not really Credit Suisse's size, but hopefully that they start to, their restructuring process, which will last until October 27th, is supposed to be, go well. So interestingly enough, that the 27th is that hard date, which ends up being a Thursday going into the 28th, which is a Friday. You could see some great market action going into that. So we'll know in about, for less than 4 weeks, we'll know, what's going on with Credit Suisse. And if things are going well, I would expect the market to react very positively. If things end up going poorly, I would expect the market to react negatively. So that's still a red herring that we have to worry about. But I just don't think it's going to be as bad as everybody currently thinks it is. So finally, looking at the dollar, definitely a lot more weak than it has been in the past. Not exactly a chart I want to long, but it's definitely something to monitor because it could certainly hold, 111.7. If it doesn't, then it's probably headed back down to 110.5. If it doesn't hold that, then it's headed back down to, 108, 109, I would say. So basically 110.5, 109. are the targets for the DXY. And of course, if the DXY does end up coming down, it doesn't reverse from here, which it could. And if it does, then I would target obviously the top of this, previous trading area, which would be 114. But if it does go down, then that would probably be very good for equities and risk assets like crypto because the dollar is weakening. So this does look strong. It's not exactly something I would encourage anybody to long, but it does look stronger than normal. And of course, we've got this little level down right here to act as a potential springboard in case we end up getting lower, which, and of course, if that goes lower, Bitcoin's, going to hover around 19.3 again. But Bitcoin does also look relatively strong here, but nothing that I would encourage people to long. The long was definitely this morning, so probably going to play it very level to level. But I think things look very good. Well, not very good. I think things look better than they have, and especially if Bitcoin daily and hourly sentiment can stay bullish, then it's a really good sign for the rest of cryptos. So also, quick little sneak peek: the Cent Galaxy website is live on October 10th. And the Galaxy white paper is live on October 10th as well. So, go ahead and click into the white paper. Boom. So it's all looking really good. All that's coming out very soon. Get ready. So good luck. Happy trading. See everybody tomorrow.